On the morning that Marissa and I were supposed to choose our future husbands, something inside me shifted. I woke up with a strange clarity, as though the universe had pressed a reset button. The sunlight poured through the old curtains of my room at Ravenwood Estate, yet my heartbeat wasn't the same as yesterday. I realized, with a chill running through me, that I had been given a second chance. A rebirth. And with it, came a peculiar ability, an echo of voices not spoken out loud. I could hear thoughts. Across the polished dining table, two men sat quietly, their presences heavy in different ways. Damien Whitmore, the elder son of the Whitmore family, was known across Crestfall City for his cold, unyielding demeanor. His jaw was sharp, his eyes like winter steel, and even silence seemed to bend to him. Beside him sat Julian Whitmore, the younger son, born of scandal and whispered affairs, yet blessed with a gentle, sweet nature. His every smile seemed to soften the air around him. And across from me, my cousin Marissa had her eyes locked onto Julian like a hawk spotting prey. This time, I'll get there first. This time, her thoughts echoed in my mind, though her lips never moved. My breath caught. She remembered too. She had been reborn, just as I had. She batted her lashes, her cheeks tinted pink with an innocence I knew was entirely manufactured. "Julian, hi," she said sweetly, "I really like you." Without hesitation, she slid into the seat beside him, her fingers brushing the cuff of his sleeve in a way that was anything but accidental. I could hear her smugness radiating in her thoughts. Finally. I'll take him away this time. Elena will get stuck with the monster instead. My father, Mr. Rivera, cleared his throat from the head of the table, his tone decisive. "Since your cousin has already chosen Julian, Elena, you should marry Damien." Marissa's lips curled upward in silent triumph. Perfect. Let her suffer the abuse this time. Let her be crushed instead of me. But I only smiled faintly, steadying my breath. "All right, father. I think I like Damien as well." For a brief moment, the room went utterly still. Marissa's eyes widened, her little victory flickering. She had expected me to resist, to cry out, to protest. She had no idea that I remembered everything from before, and that I wasn't going to make the same mistakes. You see, in my previous life, Marissa had chosen Damien. Her days had been filled with cold stares, locked doors, and bruises that were always hidden under long sleeves. His distance had suffocated her, his rejection had destroyed her, and when she couldn't bear him a child, Mrs. Whitmore had tossed her out like a broken vase, declaring her unworthy of their bloodline. And me. I had been paired with Julian. Sweet, affectionate Julian. He took me shopping, held my hand in public, spoke words that melted the hearts of anyone watching. He made me feel like the center of his world. But behind the curtains, I later discovered, sweetness can hide venom. Because when Damien died, suddenly rumors whispered of poison. Julian inherited the Whitmore empire. And overnight, I became the jewel of the family. That was when envy devoured Marissa alive. She couldn't accept that I, the one she had mocked and pitied, now lived the life she craved. So one afternoon, when I was crossing a quiet street with a shopping bag in hand, she drove straight into me. The impact shattered everything. We both died together. But now it was different. I had returned to the very beginning. And I wasn't about to let history repeat itself. Sitting beside Damien, I felt the icy wall of his aura pressing against me. My breath stilled, but then, as if on instinct, my hand brushed against his. His palm was unexpectedly warm, strong, alive. For a fleeting moment, his grey eyes flickered toward me, and I quickly released him. He said nothing, but he didn't pull away either. Across the table, Julian smiled kindly at Marissa, but his inner thoughts betrayed him. What a charming little treasure. I'll enjoy this one. A shiver ran down my spine. In my past life, I had fallen for those very words, though I never heard them aloud. But now that I could, the poison beneath his velvet tone revealed itself. Without hesitation, I leaned subtly closer to Damien, letting his shadowy presence serve as my shield. Days passed, and preparations for the dual weddings began. Both Marissa and I were to marry into the Whitmore family at the same time, something Mrs. Whitmore herself had arranged. In my past life, Damien hadn't shown up to fetch Marissa on the wedding day. Instead, Julian had arrived early, radiant in his white suit, lifting me into his arms and showering me with affection while Marissa simmered with envy. Everyone whispered that I was the luckier bride. This time, as expected, Julian appeared in pristine white, his polished shoes gleaming as he swept Marissa up effortlessly. She cast me a sideways glance, her lips parting in mock concern. "Elena, where's Damien? Didn't he come to pick you up?" Her eyes glittered with cruelty. "Laugh while you can. Soon, you'll know the taste of misery." But I only smiled, unbothered. "Don't worry about me, Marissa. Just take care of yourself." For the first time, her smirk faltered. Because deep down, she knew my words carried weight she didn't yet understand. The wedding day arrived. Music swelled through the grand Whitmore estate as guests filled the marbled halls. Marissa, dressed in layers of ivory lace, beamed under the adoring gazes of strangers, clinging to Julian's arm like he was the crown jewel she had stolen. I, meanwhile, stood silently in my own gown, elegant, simple, yet quietly commanding. Damien arrived at the very last moment, his dark suit pressed perfectly, his expression unreadable. His silence was a storm contained in human form. He didn't take my hand, but he walked beside me, and that was enough. For now. The tea ceremony followed, an ancient tradition in the Whitmore family. Each bride was to serve tea to the elders, proving humility and respect. In my past life, I had stumbled under the sharp eyes of Mrs. Whitmore, who had scolded me relentlessly while Marissa basked in praises. This time, I steadied my hands. The porcelain cups did not tremble. My voice did not falter. And when Damien's fingers brushed mine as I passed him the cup, his gaze lingered for half a heartbeat longer than necessary. Marissa, on the other hand, faltered. Her eagerness betrayed her, and the elders frowned at her overstepped gestures. I heard her thoughts spiral in panic. Why isn't this going the same way? Why are they not praising me? A faint smile curved my lips. This was only the beginning. Days turned into weeks. Life with Damien was not easy, his silence was an endless winter, his touch scarce, his walls thick. But behind that icy exterior, I began to notice fragments of something else. The way his gaze softened when he thought I wasn't looking. The subtle way he shielded me from family criticisms without a word. The way his presence, cold as it was, always anchored me when Julian's charming smile slithered too close. Julian's affection toward Marissa began to show cracks. His smile, once dazzling, grew sharper. His late nights stretched longer. His thoughts, which I could hear, grew darker. She's becoming a nuisance already. Marissa, oblivious, fought harder for his attention, exhausting herself in a game she couldn't win. And every time she looked my way, her envy deepened. But I was no longer the Elena she remembered. I didn't cling, I didn't beg, and I didn't fear. I invested my time in learning, in quietly building connections, in setting aside resources of my own. If destiny wished to test me, I would meet it with strength, not desperation. And slowly, so slowly even he didn't realize it, Damien's walls began to crack. One night, when whispers of betrayal shook the Whitmore halls and Julian's schemes threatened to unravel the family, Damien reached for me not out of duty, but out of trust. His hand was firm, his voice low. "Stand with me, Elena." And for the first time, warmth spread through the frost. As Marissa spiraled in her envy, as Julian revealed his venom, as Mrs. Whitmore began to view me not as a burden but as an asset, I finally understood the power of rebirth. It wasn't about reliving the same story. It was about rewriting it. This time, I would not be the victim. This time, I would not be the one envying someone else's happiness. This time, I would rise on my own terms, by Damien's side, yes, but also by my own strength. And as Marissa's laughter turned to sobs, and Julian's honeyed words turned to knives, I stood taller than ever. Because I had already died once. And this life, this new chance, was mine to shape.